What is happening, everybody? It is me. It's Thursday morning already. I'm out and about. I want to quick remind everybody, first and foremost, me, YR, and Arik Noya will be discussing singers who could play more than one instrument. That'll be later on tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on all three of our channels. Definitely tune in and check it out. And as far as the Batman and Superman special that we were looking at doing, we might do that on Ark's Patreon. I mentioned that a couple times before there and on the program earlier this evening. Now we got to find the time. Possibly later on this afternoon we could do it there. So definitely tune in later on tonight for our music show discussion here on singers who play more than one instrument. I was walking, as you could tell, and I was thinking about something that went down before we went live. Me, my brother-in-law, and my sister, we had a long discussion. We're still moving. We may be still moving to Florida. That's still undecided yet. But one thing both my brother-in-law and sister did suggest, that it's time to throw away some of the past. Whether it's an attitude, thinking method, or whether it's a mentality, as they call it, as well as wardrobe. This may be one of the last times you may see me wear this battle vest that I have for so many years. The only difference is the amount of patches that were added a couple months back. I wore this battle vest for the past 3 years now, whenever I went out to either the mall or to a club or whichever there, whether it's shopping. People may ask, well, why you wear that vest all the time when you go out, even though it's hot as hell in the daytime with the blistering sun shining down on your shoulders, causing you sunburn. Well, keep in mind, I mentioned this a couple of times in the past, I am a horrible creature of habit. It's hard for me to break free from something there. Sometimes I have to be forced to do that. Now, I have a lot of clothing that probably should be put away. I have a lot of shirts like these that I probably shouldn't be wearing no more because they're old. I know this battle vest is way old. The color is just about faded because of all the sunlight that hit it on it whenever I went out. And my brother-in-law did suggest that in the era that we might be moving to, it's the best, to dress more appropriate. Now, I asked him, should I dress like a preppy? His response was like, nobody uses that term no more today. Another example of me holding on to the past. Now, everybody knows I have the same kind of autism that Tommy Yancey 2010 has. The slight case of. The functioning kind. And one of the traits of autism is holding on to certain things. Whether it's papers from the past, files, things that you collected from years ago, certain clothing that you wore in the past that you're still wearing today, as well as certain memories. Now, I know I spoke about letting go of shit that happened in the past there, so I feel like a hypocrite in a few ways when I speak about the shit that happened to me back in Michigan. A lot of shit occurred to me there. I had my heart broken many times there. And my brother-in-law mentioned, wouldn't you like to be involved with a nice young lady? I said, yes, I would, but I'm reluctant to because of all the screw jobs I had in the past. The last one really fucked my head up for how many years. I still got to do a vlog about that situation there. Plus all the other shit that happened to me from other women. I spoke about it a couple times a couple years ago on my channel here. All that, a cloud in my head for so many years, it kind of kept me from, moving on at times. Also, I spoke about this a few times in the past. The way we were all brought up, well, basically me, was that you were not to let go of a situation until you got even. I mentioned that to my sister, and she's like, yo, that's the child way of thinking. That's what kids think. I was like, well, that's what went on around me a lot of times. Got to remember, I basically learned all this from observation. You tell your child, don't do this, don't do that, but you send them outside to go to school and you see everybody else doing the same thing they were told not to do. And what's more, you see them getting away with it. If the child thinks, well, they can get away with it, why can't I? That was basically how I learned certain things there. And got to remember, we were all picked on for not getting even. It wasn't like today where people tell you, just let the past go, let it die down, maybe you could come with a resolution later on, but don't do anything stupid. Back then you had to strike them down before they struck you down. One of the situations I spoke of in the past was these guys threatening my life in Marysville, Michigan, because I wore a leather jacket, a leather hat, and biker boots. They thought I was a drug dealer. That shit fucked my head up for many years. That made me hate the normal class people for so long. My sister said simply, you're not going to see those fuckers no more. They're probably dead. They probably got cancer. They're probably in jail. They probably got their just desserts in the end. I responded by saying, well, I'd like to see proof of that so I can rub it in their fucking face. And she said, but it's like you're like a child holding on to things that happened years ago. And she said something that, she basically learned from a meme on Facebook. Don't look back. You're not headed in that direction either way. And she's right. I guess in next few days, we're going to be taking a look at new clothing to wear at the club. A couple of different wardrobes to wear on my days off of work. I can still think the way, I can still be the dark, gothic, industrial, underground guy that I am, but I can't be all rebellious. I cannot be all fuck you to all society. You have to embrace a good portion of it. I look on my Facebook there and I see all the other goth friends I knew from the past. They embraced civil societies. They have families. They don't dress in as dark as he used to. One of them was a dude named Tim, who lives in Ontario, Canada. I was many times a co-host of this old university radio show. He's matured. He has a wife. He has a son, a couple kids, I believe. He's matured. So I look at all the other people out there who's matured, look different than they used to. There's this one cat, I knew him back in the D. His name is Steve. He said moved to New York City. He looks totally different than he did years before. He would dress in black. He was into Skinny Puppy like I am. I still am to this day. Now he looks all normal. And I look at these guys and I realize, you know what? It's kind of difficult to be that same person I was in my 20s and early 30s and my 40s. So I've been really thinking about, getting with what my sister and brother-in-law said about letting some of that shit go and forging ahead, moving on. It's probably just as well. I cannot hold on to that anger, that resentment, that rebelliousness that I had from ages ago. Let's not forget, it was that anger and resentment that costed me my previous job. When I look back on how it was back then, I want to kick myself in the ass for being that way. Since I have this current job that I have, which this coming November will be about officially almost more than 2 years there. Actually, that's right, it is about 2 years to be exact. I realize that I've matured. I'm in my 50s for fucking crying out loud. I cannot be a kid no more. I guess I'm still trying to hold on to my youth. That's another thing that's been bugging me for the past long while there. When people talk about you're growing old, just accept it, I'm going to be like, no, don't accept growing old. Stay young forever. And for a good reason. My dad was dealing with rheumatoid arthritis for about 12 years of his life. My mom ended up getting dementia. That was hell to deal with. All the other people who grew old, later succumbed to these conditions and this condition or that condition, they passed on from that. And I'm afraid I don't want to be next. I'm basically, kind of in a conflict, And, it's just, I should move forward. I agree with what they told me. I got to move forward. You're not going back in the past. You can't do that. But at the same time, you're reluctant to move forward because the past is what you know. And like I said, one of the traits of autism is holding on to things from the past. Whether it's memories, ideas, things you learned from, If anybody out there has dealt with this like I have, or like I am right now, feel free to let me know in the comments below. And also leave some comments on your opinion on what I just said there. Alright? Also subscribe to my channel and hit that like button and notification bell there. And one more thing I want to say. And this is towards Minnesota Vikings fan, who the last time I spoke to was on our music show, saying I always plug in my channel. Well, you got to keep in mind, I'm trying to build up my channel. And if you're going to condemn me for plugging it, you're going to have to go after other YouTubers for doing the same. Whenever I click on a YouTube vlog or a clip on there, first thing I hear from the narrator is, before we get to our subject, don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button and the notification bell. All the other YouTubers do it. Some don't, but there's a lot who do. So if you're going to go after me for plugging my channel, you're going to have to go after everybody else. And that's all I'm going to say. In the meantime, I'll see you later on tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, for our music show with me, Ark and YR. You guys have a good one. Bye-bye.